What up, guys and girls? Another brand new video coming at you today. And yes, we are finally back for some F1 league racing action here on F1 2020. We're here for race spec for the first round of this brand new season in season number 3. We'll get into Australia in just a couple of minutes time, I think, from memory. But what I'm showing you here is some of the highlights and some of the not so good highlights from the social races that we had. We did 2 races around both Britain and Belgium, the 2Bs. As you can see now, it's showing you the highlights now for Britain, where we basically did the normal qualifying, which was obviously the 18-minute session and whatnot, and I think it was a 25% race as well. And for Belgium, it's basically a one-shot qualifying and then another 25% race. So there was a very weird moment there, as you can see, where cars are just going all over the shop there. I think that was a wingman that might just, lagged a little bit or something along the lines there. I still had absolutely no idea, and you could probably tell from my reaction to that as well.
Continue on.
It was very weird, to say the least. So I should point out as well that this is just basically my recording of it. I don't live stream anything, mainly because it's mainly to do with my internet connection. With where I live, obviously, I don't have the quick internet compared to mostly everybody else who's basically on the NBN. And well, if you live in a country area like where I do, basically NBN is non-existent around here. Well, it's sort of around here, but it's not like what you get in in smaller towns or even in bigger cities, sort of thing. So yeah, that's basically the reason for that, and you'll probably see that as well down in the description. I do note that as well. But we're going to get started for the race, but then we had a little bit of a glitch just literally before we were actually supposed to start. I think it was something to do with Zach Crichton not loading in or something or other, or whether he was ticked or something. It was very weird, to say the least. But this was just sort of iron out all the glitches before we get going into the league racing season. So, and then we got caught up a little bit later on in the race with old mate Spilly, which wasn't too thrilled about, to be honest. And we did talk about it a little bit later on. Obviously, I think he might have apologised from memory about it, or he was questioning whether he made contact with me, and I sort of said yes, I was going to share the footage, which I didn't, but you probably see it anyway. If you want to see the full footage of that, there is you'll be able to check it out on my YouTube channel. I might link it down below in the description if you want to go check that out. But we move on to Belgium. We had a decent qualifying, which is pretty simple when most people can quarter cut around here. And fortunately, we had a little bit of a tangle with GeForce Todd, who was formerly Todster 99. You'll be seeing the name GeForce quite a lot in this basically this season, because there's a new sort of esports side of things on the PS4, which I think Zach Crichton sort of started up, and there's a few of them that have sort of joined on board there, as you can see there. We had obviously a moment there where I was sort of lagging about a little bit, and then obviously got kicked out of the lobby. Seemed weird at the time. I did rejoin, obviously, but it was pretty much nothing much really happened except for a couple of spins at Puon. Obviously, the first one was a lot closer to the wall, and the second one was just went for a half spin there in the end. Probably wondering who the voices in the background is. Mackenzie Stewart kept me company throughout those couple of races. Anyway, so and then we had this little moment here where GeForce Ford, of course, formerly 40, or Bailey, as he's well known by, he literally just crossed the line there, and I don't know how the hell it did not given the checkered flag or whatnot. But yeah, it was weird to say that. It was very weird to say that at the time. Might have found another glitch there, did Bailey, but apparently somehow we won the race, which is completely wrong, because obviously there's a sort of a glitch in the game where if you lag out and then you come back in,
that lap time,
it'll automatically give you the race win, which is completely wrong. I think so, as you can tell. And tell the lap time as well, 52 flat. I mean, you probably record time around Belgium, to say the least. I think Wogboy may have won the Grand Prix. I'm not actually 100% sure on who won that one, but yeah, wasn't
But,
ideal
good fun. I can't wait
preparation
for
to say the
start.
least.
This is
Didn't
gonna
have
be
the
sweet.
greatest amount of preparation for these two races as well, so it wasn't ideal. But when we get to the driver lineups for the upcoming season, and well, if to be expected, if I was to be back in Tier 1 again, I probably would have been happy fighting a midfield spot in the team, but well, that's in the Tier 1, but saw myself in Tier 2, and thankfully it did put me in my right car, in the first car that I had picked, being the Ferrari, because I'd chosen the Ferrari as my first choice car. Can't remember what the other choices I had as well for that season, but obviously I drove the Ferrari in the social races as well, so
would you want me to
that was the basic, just that one as well, so I mean,
I would love to hear that.
But it was probably to be expected with the amount of how many good drivers there are in Tier 1. It was probably going to be difficult to get back into Tier 1. Obviously, I hadn't been racing in Tier 1 since probably obviously the German Grand Prix last season. So that's probably basic gist of it as well. If I haven't added it in already, I probably will add in the calendar. Now, you'll probably, if you haven't seen it already, I don't know where I'm going to put it anyway, but you'll see as well. We originally the plan was to do the original 22 race calendar like it had been planned pre-COVID-19 coming into fruition, that sort of thing. So, but then obviously it got dropped to. We had to drop a few races, obviously, because there was some underlying issues with this game, which is completely nothing utterly new with this game at all, which they never do online at all. I don't know why they focus on my team and whatnot, but anyway, that's just me. I think a few others would probably be in the same boat, but yeah, it is what it is, really. And there was a bug that was big on the PS4 was the communicating with online services bug, and I think it's still a bit of a thing, but I think there was still a few little bugs along the way. So basically, we obviously had to cull out a few races for this season, which I think, if I memory serves me correctly, I think there were like Monaco, Vietnam. There was probably a couple of others that I cannot think off the top of my head, but
on Sunday.
I think it was like, what was it, 17, 18 races or something. We had to, obviously from 22, you had to cull out 5, so I can't actually remember it off the top of my head, but you'll be able to work it out when you see the calendar anyway. But here we go, first run on the in the game, obviously, at Australia. I went out, obviously, on the medium compounder tyres as well, so obviously the lap time was not going to be decent, let's be fair, and it is not decent. It's P13 at the moment, but we had a full grid actually for Tier 2 to start the season, which is absolute scenes to say the least. And from that list as well, I think from when players announced the tiers for all the different tiers for like PS4, PC, and Xbox. Which, by the way, if you want to join up for the Race Spec League, they're doing the sort of like the Pacific, Euro, Americas tiers on the Tuesday nights, and then they've got their Elite and Global series on the Sunday nights. I think they've also got the F2 Sprint series and a Classic series coming up as well. I think the F2s are still sticking around on the Fridays. Classic series, not sure entirely what days they are going to be on, but yeah, just keep an eye. If you want to go join, there is a link down below in the description. You want to join the Discord, and then I think there's a sign-up sheet. Hopefully there is still a sign-up sheet, to say the least. So if we get back to what I was saying, obviously, as we see a few more qualifying highlights, there is quite a few, plenty of drivers that could actually win a race this year. There's so many drivers. You look at it. Memory. I mean, my memory's not brilliant at the best of times, let me be frank. So, when I saw my name there in Tier 2, like I said earlier, like if I was back in Tier 1, obviously, I probably would have been fighting a midfield position sort of thing there. But now that sort of in Tier 2, I mean, the championship's not out of the question here, to say the least, because obviously I haven't fought for a championship for bloody ages. You have to go back probably to when we had AOR F2 in Oceania. That was probably the last time I'd actually properly fought for a championship. I've been battling sort of midfield positions, I think, in the past as well. But second run there on the soft compounded tyres was a little bit better. We put ourselves up into, where was it, somewhere in the 10? I think, yeah, P8. 20.413 there. You see GeForce Dre at the moment has got the the best time at the moment. I think he's in the 19s. It was actually here in GeForce Server, which is formerly Server Night, and yeah, the top 2 at the moment. My teammate, obviously, GeForce Hazard, sort of got to know him a little bit before the race. I think he actually joined the party during the social races as well. But we're just waiting around here, just going around here, seeing GeForce Benny Mac going for a little spin. Now, interesting to note with Benny Mac, obviously, originally he was in Tier 3, but it was basically they were doing their race. I think there's difference of times for all the different tiers, of course. So Benny Mac was doing his, I think it's 7 o'clock for Tier 3. He'd absolutely blitz qualifying. He got pole by like nearly 1 or 2 seconds, and instantly he was like, he was probably maybe put into the wrong tier. So basically, basically you jumped a tier even after, well, not even doing one race to say the least, because probably it was wrongfully put into the tier. So I think there's maybe sort of rectified. And he's in the Renault for this round. I think he's in for Iceman, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll get on here. We'll go for a lap here around Australia as we get into turn 1. Then through turns 2. Nice run through there. It's a 20.413. Currently outside the 10 at the moment in P11, because obviously everybody would be improving. And I think from memory, in time trial, I think it was close to the 19s, if not in or thereabouts in the 19s. So I knew a good time was decent. I wanted to obviously start off the season in a decent position, obviously. As we run through, it was turn 7 and 8, not running too wide here. Track limits has obviously been upped quite a bit since the last game, which obviously is not a bad thing, because there's probably some parts of the track that you could get away with last season, but in this game you can't get away with as we come through turns 11 and 12, as my teammate is actually telling me how close the gaps is. It was not ideal, to say the least, while I'm still on a flying lap. Like 2 minutes. You see the time, it's not brilliant, to say the least. I did make an error, I think, in the previous lap around that area, turn 13 and 14. You can see where all the time I've sort of made up. And I think I made a little bit of an error coming out of the final corner, but we nail it actually coming around the final corner here. So looking on track to getting a decent spot here. We're currently 12, and we jump ourselves into position 4, which is a great lap time into the 19s. I think it was a 1:19. Where was it here? 19.937,
which is 20.2s.
Shit.
The tier is pretty close, to say the least, and GeForce has Harry, better known as, or Harold, to say for him, better known as, I should say. God, I'm all over the place with this voiceover, say the least. Sorry, Harry. But you can see GeForce Drake got the first pole position ahead of Dermy there in P2. There's only 4 guys in the 19s, which includes myself, but you can tell, like GeForce has said, like the top 15 are under a second, which is incredible. But there was plenty of these guys in the 120s. It's incredible, to say the least, in this tier. So it is mightily close, to say the least, around here to start the season, which is absolute ripper. But we get to the race strategy. Now, obviously, the last game, you could easily get a soft to medium, I think, strategy. You could easily make that work. Technically, you still can do it, but the tyre wear has been upped quite a bit as well from the last game as well. So the tyres, I think, sort of wear out a little bit more than predicted, as we just about set off now for the formation lap. So we're going to go for the soft to hard compounder strategy, which is, I think, basically nearly what everybody is going to be doing for this race, barring maybe a few guys that might be trying soft mediums, although there might be some quick guys coming through at the back as well. Also, you can probably hear the voices in the background as well. But we obviously had a party. My teammate was obviously in here as well. Plus, there was Mac of Stewart, because he was obviously racing in Tier 1. I think LR Amazing Hour was sort of coaching him a little bit, or engineering sort of things. But those boys did mute themselves before this race started anyway, so that was good. And I did mute a few other guys in the party chat, because obviously I wanted to stay focused and, basically only hear my teammate at the time. So here we go. I think we're nearly all set to go here for the first round of the season. I could not wait to get it started here, but we need to get off to a good start and hopefully not cause up any dramas. Here we go. 5 red lights. let's do it around the Albert Park for the first time in Season 3. And it's a decent start off the line here. Obviously, ERS is a bit different as well. Into turn 1 to get nice and cautiously. There's been a contact between me and Banana. We've ended up into the wall and we've got front wing damage, which is not ideal to say the least. And we've fallen from P4 all the way back to last place.
All right, recovery drive starts now.
Exactly, mate. Keep your head down. You got it.
Yeah, and we're obviously now, I just knew it was a recovery game now to try and gain back something from this race, because we're in a pretty decent starting position, but obviously now you get caught up with Banana. We'll get some replays in a second. That's Breno that's had a moment going around there at was that turns 9 and 10. So he's had a bit of a moment there on the medium combat tyre. So again, that's the spot there in P19, and we're trying to close in here on the Haas of F1 Hawk, who I think raced last season in Tier 1. So we're now closing in end of the lap. I was considering maybe just to come in to the pit lane to get the front wing changed, but I aborted that idea straight away when I felt like, you know, the car, obviously I've got, I think, yellow front wing damage, and I mean, it was not too bad to say the least. Obviously, it will affect me probably straight line speed, or to say a few other things through the corners, but it didn't feel too bad, and I felt like I could get to the first pit stop and then maybe change it, and then we can go all guns blazing, as well as yellow flags there in the foreground. And also, I should point out as well, I am using borrowed setups as well from my VSR, my teammates from VSR, of course, who are a lot quicker than me. So obviously they may not suit me. They obviously may suit the other guys, but yeah, we'll do our best we can with these setups as we can. It's Kick Butt Kiwi that has had a spin as well. So that's obviously now puts us up into 17th spot. Obviously, with F1 Hawk did pit at the end of that lap as well. So we're obviously gained ourselves a couple of spots. And I wasn't too far behind from this group, as well as there's a Williams around there at turn 13. It looked like Grim Reaper there has had a spin. So that's P16 now. But like I was saying, we weren't too far away from this sort of the whole group, to say the least. Although you can see there's a few cars that sort of broken away from each other there, as Greedy has a very sideways moment there. We managed to just slide up the inside there at turns 1 and 2, and we get ourselves up into 15th position now. And so we're making some good inroads. I felt like the car had some decent race pace, and obviously we've got to make use of these soft compound tyres as best we can, obviously, before they obviously lose tyre life. So we're now chasing after the Racing Point, or the pink Mercedes, whichever way you want to call it. A MistyGryphon, who gets a little bit sideways through that exit of turn 12, and we go right around the outside. And it was a pretty simple move there, really, because we run it a little bit wide through turn 13, but we managed to hang on to that position for the time being. So up into P14 now. That was probably good thing I went to the left, not the right, because I would have ended up probably with more damage. So now we're going to try and chase after the Red Bull of Ramsey, who's the next car up the road, I believe. We rack a very hell-raising moment there through turn 12. Lucky I did not bin the car at all, because that's not what I want to do after lap 1. But G4 Servers into the pit lane already after lap 5. So I only assume he must have had front wing damage from the incidents at the start, maybe, or the first few laps. But anyway, let's have a look at some replays on the start line. You'll see side by side, mine on my POV's on the right, and that's Bananas on the left. We'll slow it down here. You can see we sort of get caught up a little bit there into the back right wheel and the left front. So we sort of interlock there a little bit, and yeah, I mean, I sort of had a feeling it was probably going to be a racing incident. So me and Banana did talk about it afterwards, and Banana obviously did, apologise for the incident, but I mean, yes, it is what it is, really. I mean, nothing much you can do there, and I think the same thing's happened to F1 Hawk there. So he's got caught up in the back end of, I think it looked like a Red Bull, if I'm not mistaken. It was a bit hard to judge there from the start there. I think it might have been a Red Bull. Might have been, no, maybe might have been kudaah here in the Red Bull. Have a look here into turn 1. Yeah, potentially, yeah, well, might have been the...
I've just been squished
the Red Bull, but he got a decent start there. He actually dropped a few spots there. As you can see, OP Magic there in the other Haas is going up the inside. 3 wide into turn 3. That's never going to work. Someone's going to end up badly out of it, but Ramsey somehow manages to avoid the attack of both OP Magic and Banana and to get himself up into P4 there. We'll have a look on board with the other Haas of OP Magic. As he actually had a decent start. Obviously, I have raced with OP Magic in the past. You have to go back to the old ARL days. But right around the outside, there goes me, obviously getting caught up. See what I mean by the my left-hand frontal with the front of his back right wheel. That sort of made sense. This OP trying to go for a move up the inside here into turn 3. There was a little bit of contact there, but all managed to avoid, and then he's trying to avoid kickback Kiwi. This is a little bit of contact there between Banana and OP, and he's lost a spot there to kickback Kiwi, and then side by side now with my teammate of G-Force Hazard, and I think he may hang on to this move here as both Kickbutt Kiwi and Banana having battled in the foreground as well, but my teammates had a good run there as well around the outside. They give each other space, but in the end, OP, I think, manages to hang on for the time being there. Yeah, let's go have a look on board here with Harass back at P12. Got obviously a good start up into P11. But then, there's contact from behind, I think, so someone's gone for a really bold dive bomb there. But thankfully, he only went for a full 360. Didn't get any damage from all of that, and he'll be able to try and recover his lost positions. Here's another replay with the Alpha Tower of Joggles. As you see all this carnage here into turn 1. There goes a couple of, there goes all the other host cars, myself, F1 Hawk, and
a gigantic amount of positions from 18th to 11th.
So he's pretty happy with himself there to getting himself up to P11. I'll probably leave a link below to his Twitch channel, which you could check out his live stream. Right down the outside of the Williams of Grim Reaper. Had to take a track limits warning, obviously. Like I said, the track limits on this game have been tightened up quite a bit. Here's another one of Conrad Straight 888. Not the other Conrad Straight I know of back on Xbox, I don't believe anyway, but he was trying to move there on my teammate, but it didn't work out in the end. There's a little bit of contact there. And in the end, it's going to cost Joggles a few spots there. He's lost a spot to G-Force Benny Mac. And I think it was contact with the Grim Reaper, the Williams there. And then a bit further on the lap. I think maybe the teammates are maybe tangled with each other there. It's definitely not what you want to see with the first round of Season 3. And now, back to our point of view here, we tried our absolute best to just try and close this gap. We have closed the gap down to Ramsey down the foreground, but the tyres were probably starting to wear out a little bit here, and I knew the pit stop wasn't going to be too far away. As back we go with Joggles, who's in P9, obviously, under attack here from Blocky Rex in the medium, on the medium compounded tyres, so they'd probably be up to temperature now as Joggles runs very, very wide. He might actually come under a bit of attack here from, I think that's Harass there in the Mercedes behind, but also he's on the soft compounded tyres, but no, they stay for the time being. At lap 7 we go. There was a little bit of lag. It's probably to do with my internet as normal, but it was a weird glitch. It was saying that was up to P5, and I thought to myself, no, that's not right. As we see, go back to P4, but then go back to P13. Codemasters never fails to amaze me with the amount of glitches they still have on F1 2020. If anything, they get worse every single year. But anyway, we're going to come in now at the end of lap 7, and literally it was good timing. And my teammate was saying, "When am I boxing?" And I literally said, "Now." So we're in the pit lane now, and we're obviously going to get this front wing changed because I managed to do it for 7 odd laps. So may as well get a fresh one and see what pace we can do around here. Onto the hard compounded tyres now, and away we go. So we should be coming out either relative fresh air, or I think that's F1 Hawk that's just coming down the pit straight now. So it might be actually close on the pit exit with him. Obviously, plenty of fresh air around us otherwise, but there goes F1 Hawk, who's obviously pitted way early. He put it way back on lap 1, so obviously I assume he's been on those hards for quite a long period of time. So now we obviously have to try and push on and try and close this gap as quickly as we can, but that's definitely not going to help our cause later on in the race with a 3-second time penalty, our first for the season. That was probably to be expected. The amount of times you could probably push yourself to the actual limits of the track. It's up we go a couple of laps, up to end of lap 8 now, starting lap 9. We have closed that gap now to the Haas in front there of F1 Hawk. So now I've got DRS, but we lose the car going out of the exit there of turn 2, which wasn't ideal. Now I've obviously ruined my momentum out of all that. Now I've got to try and close this gap down as well. So not been an ideal start. And I am using the load cell brake pedal as well for the first time this season. Obviously I've been using the clutch pedal on the Fanatec pedals for quite a while. That I felt it was necessary. Obviously I bought myself a new racing seat as well. So I felt it was necessary probably if I was going to improve my speed at all, probably the load cell pedal was probably the best way to go there. As you saw as well, my teammate actually pitted in, and obviously I was wondering at the penalty situation, which I've only got one penalty. And Dermy had a moment as well where I think he spun out, was between turns, either coming out of turns 1 and 2 or between turn 2 and 3. But he obviously had a big spin.
Actually, that's a decent go.
But I think he actually left the session straight after that. Probably like a rage quit sort of thing, which is a bit of a shame, really, because he had a pretty decent position there, Dermy, in that race. I think he started from P2, but you can see here, Joggles obviously made a pit stop as Harass goes right around the outside on the soft or the medium compounded tyres, and obviously Joggles on the hards, and obviously he's just realised that he's got a bit of front wing damage as well, so that's not going to help his cause there at all. But starting lap 11 now, you can see there's a few cars just making their way out of the pit lane. We set our personal best on that lap as well. And you see now this is probably an opportunity to maybe try close this gap here if F1 Hawk can't get past that Williams of Conrod in the foreground there, which he can't. So we might be able to try and maybe close this gap and hopefully get past him. We should be able to get past him, obviously, with the much fresher, harder compounded tyres compared to he. But obviously there's a few laggy moments again from my point of view, I think. So, and that really put me off a little bit through there. Turns 6 and 7 through there, so that lost me all the momentum there for that as well. But here we go to a G-Force Dre, trying to make a move around the outside on the Red Bull of Ramsey. It looks like he had a bit of end plate or missing end plate on the front wing, so he might be in a bit of trouble here. I think he's going long in these tyres, if I'm not mistaken, but Dre trying to go right around the outside into turn 3. As he's trying to do, if he can hang it through here, he should get the position, and he does. So up into P3, I should say, for G-Force Dre. So that's a great move there. I think he was basically leading majority of the race. I think there's still a couple of guys still yet to pit. I think OP Magic and Blocky Rex are still yet to pit at that stage of the race. But back to our point of view, we're still closing into this battle here. This is basically a battle for 17th and 18th in this race. Although we've probably try our absolute best to close up. Obviously, there's still a couple of guys still yet to pit, obviously. But we're still trying our absolute best to try and get by F1 Hawk as quick as possible, so we can maybe try and have an attack on the guys a bit further on. We try and have a decent run out of turns 11 and 12. You can see got much better straight line speed. We go to the left here a little bit, but F1 Hawk just covers that one off pretty decently as we try to do a little bit of a crisscross here, just showing in the nose there, saying I'm around here and I'm ready to make a move anytime you make an error. Which, to be fair, F1 Hawk didn't really make too much of an error as we make an error ourselves out of the final corner. We could have had a decent run out of turn 1 there. No, not turn 1, turn 16, the final corner there, but that wasn't the case. There's a couple of guys, Ramsey and Grim Reaper, have now pitted, so they're down. As that's the other Williams of Conrod, so and he was in front of us at the time. We were starting to pull away, but I think he's made an error in the first couple of corners. So now we've jumped ourselves up into P15. Now we'll see if we can try close in on F1 Hawk. Again, there's a bit of lag again on my point of view, which wasn't helping my cause. I think there were maybe a couple of other guys that may have been lagging as well. No, that probably put me off a little bit there, thinking F1 Hawk could actually speed off there on his own. But no, again, it had to do with lag. So we just had to push on as best we can here. As it's on the dirt there a little bit coming out of the penultimate corner there. So we might have a chance. As we can see here, there's a car actually leaving the pit lane. That's actually Greedy V2 there in the Alfa Romeo. It's going to be very tight on the exit there. I decided to back out of it, and I've lost all my momentum as Greedy loses it coming out of the pit lane. So even after all of that, we managed to avoid everything else there. But now obviously we've lost all that momentum there, and now we had to pretty much just close the gap back up again to F1 Hawk again. So a bit of a shade for Greedy. I think he was having a decent job there, but he's lost He's back down into 16th place, I think it is. I can tell on the graphic. It's great to see that they've added a few more names there. I think it was only like you're going to see 3 or 4 for other people from memory. It was great to like have like 5 other people there as well, so you know like who's in what positions going a bit further on. But again with the DRS here, not really closing in here to the back of F1 Hawk. Was hoping maybe for a little mistake which would help our cause here, but to be fair, he was putting the car in a pretty decent spot here. I wasn't using my overtake obviously because I pretty much used nearly majority of it. Now this, you got to manage it quite a bit more obviously. ERS has obviously changed quite a bit. It's pretty much just an overtake button you just flick on and then you flick off again. Basically it's nothing like what we had last season and back in F1 2019. You can see now we might be able to put a bit of pressure here on F1 Hawk. He made an error coming out of turn 10. We have to think about it, go down to turn 11. It's not really a passing spot. I was trying to maybe go line up for a move out of, have a good run at that fast 11 and 12 and then go for a move at 13. But again, we're just not really quite close enough to the back of that Haas. And to be fair, F1 Hawk was doing a very decent job all round. And apparently, so Albert Park is not really a passing circuit, so as we get right up close to the back end of that Haas, and to be fair, the pace didn't feel too bad around. I think from, if you're wondering as well, I think I borrowed a setup from, I think it was VSR Jake. It may have been a PC setup as well, so I think there's obviously a little disparity between both PC, PS4, and even Xbox, so even though maybe it might work for PC, it might not be good for PS4. As we again close in, there's probably the closest we've been. We used a little bit of overtake ERS as well. Again, we're just not really in a position there to just try for a move. You can see in the foreground, that's Joggles in the AlphaTauri, who's not too far in the foreground, but you can maybe try and clear F1 Hawk. We can maybe try and catch up to the other group there as we get a track limits warning there. I can't remember whether it was warning number 4 or not, or whether it was warning 5 from memory, but I'm not too far away from maybe getting a second penalty in this race. So, again, we're trying to line up a move here. We're in overtake mode as well. We're going to try go around the outside here into turn 11, which I knew wasn't going to be an easy move to say the least, but we try to get a good run again out of this fast 11 and 12. Again, we're just not had the decent run. We're a bit closer this time around, but he's going to try and make us go around the long way, which we tried to do a bit of crisscross there, a little bit sideways coming out of the corner. It's just me getting on the power very, very early there. And it felt like we were not too far away from maybe trying to get past F1 Hawk and finally clearing him, because his hearts would have been feeling a bit old at this sort of stage as when we go for a spin. And now we've got even more front wing damage now, and well,
that's my race done.
Thought that was pretty much it. I thought it was my race done.
I was stuck behind F1 Hawk for quite a while, trying to get a good run on the out of the final corner, and I lost the back end and front wing damage.
Fuck, dude. Oh man, stay in it. You never know. Sets come out.
Yeah.
You never know.
That's my hope now.
Anything can happen in motorsport, mate.
That's it.
So yeah, basically all my hopes now are pinned on a late safety car to just maybe try and save me. Here's a replay of the incident again. Now obviously I try to get a good run out of the final corner. We slow it down as best we can. Did clip the curb there a little bit there, but then the car just pretty much went on me there. So it felt weird at the time that the spin did happen, but yeah, I don't know what else I could put it down to, whether I got on the throttle too early or something else really, but yeah, now obviously I've got to nurse this car back into the pit lane with the front wing damage. Obviously we have to concede a few spots there. Well, we obviously conceded one to Grim Reaper, and I obviously taking it very cautiously through here. And Jeff obviously trying to give me motivation, get the move back, but I mean, I've got front wing damage, Jeff, so it's probably a hard ask to get that move back anyway. So get it slowed down nicely to the 60k speed limit, I think it is. So, and we're going to go onto the medium compounded tyres because I didn't have the confidence to get onto the soft compounded tyres, and then a safety car has been deployed. And I thought at that moment in time, I thought maybe should have gone on the soft compounded tyres and just hoped for something out of this race. But Yeah, now on the medium compounded tyres. And, well, we're going to have to continue on for the time being here. Because obviously you're trying to, as now my teammates in the lane. I think nearly majority of these, everybody up the front there was pitting in and going on to either softs or the medium compounded tyres. As this is OP Magic just slowing down, and he gets a 5-second time penalty, I think, for speeding in the pit lane. So that's not going to help his cause, albeit I think he might have still had the speed limiter on, but then the game is still giving him a penalty after all of that as well. But back with, here we go with Banana, and he's coming into the pit lane also, as well as he's trying to get past his teammate ahead of into the pit lane. He's actually done so. Now, that is quite bizarre. I've never seen anything like that ever. He probably had to think back to what, Sebastian Vettel when he passed in the pit lane, I think it was 2016. I don't know how GeForce Benny Mac would have been feeling at the time, considering he was in front of him at that stage, and then obviously had to queue behind at the pit stop. But there's Joggles into the pit lane. You think you see there's probably a little bit of a mixture on tyre strategies.
You know what that safety car was for?
No, honestly, I don't.
At the end of this race, and
Always seems to be that way. I never know what actually causes them. They just happen.
My teammate was actually querying like what the safety car was for, and I think we got told afterwards in the race. I think it was one of the Red Bulls that maybe.
Someone just randomly crashes.
I think it was a Red Bull from memory. I can't actually remember off the top of my head. If it was one of the Red Bulls,
DNF or anything.
If it was one of the Red Bulls, I apologise. But I think it was one of those guys that may have had a bit of a spin. I think it was in the second sector, and it just randomly brought out the safety car. Like, no DNFs whatsoever, but it just randomly brings out the safety car, which, I mean, that just seems just wrong, to be honest. I mean, yes, this is probably going to help me quite a bit here, because we're catching it back up to the safety car group, and we just managed to do it just in time before the safety car came back into the pit lane. But yeah, I don't agree with that. Either unless your car is actually properly DNF'd, or it's like in a dangerous spot on the track, then the safety car should come out. But if you just go for like a spin and lose your front wing or something, it just should be randomly a virtual safety car, surely. Unless I'm just going mad. That might just be me. But anyway, obviously the safety car is coming in his lap. We did come back in and put on a brand new set of soft compounded tyres. I kept one just in case something like this would occur for the final few laps here. And obviously we are stuck behind the lagged out car of Dermy, which obviously we couldn't pass. I tried my best to maybe sort of cheat the game a little bit here to try and get past the McLaren, but it just did not work at all. So basically I've got to be stuck behind the Ghost car, AI car McLaren of Dermy on the restart here, and we've got one hell of a job to do. His car's already in the pit lane at the restart. F1 Hawk and Breno have come into the pit lane, so there must have been some chaos at the start of it. There's track limits warning number 5, so we're getting close to our another time penalty in this race, which wouldn't help our cause here. I was hoping to like keep them to a minimum as best we can, just so we can maybe gain some spots. Yellow flags, not sure what that reasoning was for. Breno is now out of the Grand Prix. He's retired in the pits and left the session. But we now got past the ghost car of Dermy. Now we can have an attack on these guys in front here. First up, Kick Butt Kiwi in the Racing Point, who's on the mediums, and Harass is also on the mediums as well. He's made an error, I think. Should have fast left right-hander. Now we're going to have a go, maybe 2 for 1 up the inside of Kick Butt Kiwi. Just giving him enough racing room here. We've got the move done, so we're up into 15th place now. Next up is Conrad in the Williams. I felt like a top 10 was definitely not out of the question. I pretty much would have been happy for a top 10 result after what we've been through this whole race and everything. But we're now at the start of lap 22 now. We actually set our personal best, and that was our fastest lap of the race at 1:24. 183 was nearly a second quicker than what we did on the hard compounded tyres. There's GeForce Server that's had a bit of a moment by the looks of things, and he's dropped just back behind us. There's battles galore, looks like, in the foreground as well. I think why you see GeForce Server a little bit further back was I think he was further up the road, and I think he may have been battling with my teammate, and I think they've had a coming together somewhere along the line there. So real unfortunate for Server, because I think he was potentially, as we get ourselves another 3-second time penalty, is like I said, there's plenty of drivers who could potentially win races. And I think Server is definitely one of those drivers. You probably include me in there as well. Maybe, obviously, Dre, who's leading the way at the moment. I think there's a few other guys that could potentially be race winners this season. So now we're closing into the back of the Williams of Conrad, and that's Greedy in the Alfa Romeo in the foreground as well. So there's possibly a couple of spots. We can't afford to drop too far behind these guys either, because the other group has, I think, started to pull away in the foreground, which a top 10 obviously won't be too far away. There's obviously DRS now gets enabled, but we're not really going to have it for this lap, obviously, because we'll have it for the next lap. It's Conrad and Greedy battling away. Conrad around the outside, and he'll get the move done at turn 3, so he gets by the Alfa Romeo. Now we're going to try and maybe see if we can get past the Alfa Romeo, but also keep an eye behind. His Greedy runs very wide through turn 5, but keep an eye behind because we've got Server right up our rear end as well. Conrad is lagging a little bit as well, so that's not going to help things as well, but you can see Server right up the back of us here, and he's going for a move up the inside. There's a little bit of contact there. Wasn't too thrilled about the little push there, and apparently Jeff thinks that Server's a woman. I don't know if that's the truth or not, but you never know in this game at all. But he's absolutely flown by. Now we're going to have to try and gain back this momentum as quickly as we can. We've got Kick Butt Kiwi not too far behind, so there's a bit of battle going on. All Greedy and Server's come together. I think Greedy was trying to move there on the Williams, but it just hasn't worked out. I think it's not ended badly for G4 Servers. We give him a little nudge back. Might have been 15 all after what occurred earlier on, but he's going to come back into the pit lane. So he's got front wing damage, I think, out of all that. So back up into 14th place. But now I'll try again to see if we can get past this Alfa Romeo of Greedy V2 here. And I think the top 10 is definitely still not out of the question. Greedy has a terrible run out of turns 1 and 2. We've tried everything, using absolute everything, overtake and DRS, but not really quite close enough here. But we've obviously got to try clear him as quickly as we can. And obviously these guys as well are on the sort of medium compounded tyres, which can go a little bit longer. But I'm on the much quicker rubber, obviously. It's right up the back of that Alfa Romeo. But I was trying to try and clear Greedy, and maybe he could hold up Kick Butt Kiwi behind. We're going to try go around the outside here into turns 9. We somehow managed to give each other room out of all that. And now we're going side by side of it here. He's got maybe a little bit more straight line speed. I did change the front wing up a little bit just for a bit more turn in the corners. Maybe that was probably a wrong move there, but he manages to get the move back done. And now we're going to try again and see if we can have a go here. We have a think about it around the inside. We're going to go the outside line here again. A little bit more contact through turn 13, and again trying to go around the outside here, which will have the inside line for the penultimate corner here, and we do just get the move done. Yes, we do. So now up into P13. Now we can chase after the next couple of cars in the foreground, which I think are both the Williams cars there. On lap 25 we go. So now all the hard work begins of all that. So we'll take a little bit of a breather for a second. You can see
again.
This is all the carnage that was going on
I swear, dude.
after with the safety car drama.
He just keeps hitting me.
So I think F1 Hawk slammed into the back of, may have been Joggles there. Obviously Joggles getting 5-second tyre penalties right, left, centre. I think Breno may have slammed into somebody else. Not entirely sure who he slammed into there, but he's on board with MistyGryphon. You probably see in the foreground there. Oh, there's a little bit of contact behind. That might explain how Breno
just crashed into the
maybe.
back of me, so. Why did I get a penalty?
I think that's how Breno may have got his front wing damage. So he slammed into the back of MistyGryphon there. That was F1 Hawk. I don't think he was obviously too thrilled about that incident, as he gets another 5-second type penalties. Which I think both those penalties are possibly being removed as well. So might affect obviously the final finishing positions as well.
Jesus.
And those guys obviously ended up back into the pit lane as well. But this is a battle here with kudaah on the right and then Harass on the left-hand side. This is big for a top 5 position, if I'm not mistaken. There you go, side by side through here into turn 4. There's a little bit of contact and it's ended badly for Harass.
Harass is gone.
And he's got front wing damage out of all of that. And he's dropped a bunch of spots there, and this is not going to help Harass big time here. And yeah, these guys were battling for the podium positions as well. He's on board with OP Magic. It's
oh shit!
Just a tough one to call there, really. It's sort of even Stevens between those two there, and fortunately for Harass, they've just sort of banged tyres, and that's pretty much been
3
it.
seconds for corner cutting it, reckon.
So very unfortunate there for Harass, as he's Joggles trying to give a little bit of contact there on Blocky Rex in the other Alfa Romeo. MistyGryphon did get that move done.
I've got light green wings now, so
I think Joggles may have got some front wing damage
improved
as well, as he tried to have a look down the inside of Blocky Rex, but no can do. He's losing all momentum out of the final corner there. There goes the Red Bull of Ramsey. He's managed to claw his way back up, so that's 9th place, I think, for the Red Bull driver, ahead of the AlphaTauri. But back we go to our point of view here, as we see there's more drama here. Oh, there's more damage by the looks of the things here. It looks like I think Conrad may have picked himself up some front wing damage as well, so that may potentially help us out here. Joggles going very slow in the final corner. Conrad's obviously struggling through the final corner. We're going to see if we can try and get a move done here. We've got DRS obviously overtake. I think the same thing will happen for him as well. Up the inside of the turn 1. We give each other racing room there. Plenty of respect between us. I was right on the grass there. Conrad just manages to hang on and get in front of me here. But now obviously I'm trying to set it back up the inside. Now this is not going to be easy. Going to go side by side through turn 4. Run it out very wide there. Somehow didn't get a warning out of all that. But now somehow we are still going side by side. We've gone through nearly 6 corners here as we up the inside. I think we've got the move done. No, we haven't. We've got on the power way too early out of turn 6 and 7. And now Conrad goes right around the outside again. And this time we set it up the inside here. And again, give each other racing room here as I get on the overtake button as quick as I can. And I think now we've got clear of Conrad, but that's allowing Kickbutt Kiwi to join in this party as well. I can't afford, obviously, to lose too much touch to the next car, which is obviously Joggles. Zephon Hawks, that's the fast lap of the race, obviously with the fresh compounded tyres.
Just fucking drifting out wide.
This is the replay. That might explain what happened there. So Joggles, I think, maybe gone on the power after being run out a little bit wide there at turn 13. I think he got a penalty, is that as well? By the looks of things. So that's not going to help his cause out at all, but it's a bit of a shame really for Conrad as well, because he's in a pretty decent position as well. We ran wide out of the final corner as well, but now we're right onto the back of the AlphaTauri. So now we can maybe try and get past him and just hope really that other guys in front will have time penalties and we can get ourselves a decent finishing position. We try to get a good run out of turn 7. Again, having a think about it, just putting the nose out there. Kickbutt Kiwi again's not far behind because he did get by the Williams, who's dropped I think a couple of spots out of all of that, or that always come in for the pit lane. I can't actually remember. I think he may have dropped a few spots there, so we lost a bit of momentum there, as you can see, to the AlphaTauri. We get a nice run out of the fast 11 and 12 section there, but again, not really quite close enough to the back of the AlphaTauri, man. So he manages to hang off for the time being as he runs just a little bit wide out of 13, so the opportunity is still there. Again, probably just turned in a little bit too early there. Turn 14, right on the back end of the AlphaTauri. I don't believe he'll have DRS because the next car was a little bit further on. I say that as I don't think he's a little bit further on now. There may have been some drama in the foreground. You probably hear Amazing Hour's voice in the background. Obviously, he'd unmuted himself after I think nearly the race had finished in Tier 1 or something like that. So, and now tried again on Joggles. We're going to have a look up the inside. Just putting the car there, just letting it know we're there. Try again around the outside here as we get a little bit of a squeeze there, not too much. But up the inside there of managed to hang on to the position of Kickbutt Kiwi, and I think he's lost a spot to Greedy behind as well. So everything's happening here in the mid-pack. The other guys have really literally pulled away here. As we'll see back a bit further at the front here, OP Magic trying to maybe go for a move here on kudaah for second spot, and I think he's going to get the move done. So the medium compounded tyres working well for OP Magic. I think Dre's got this race probably in the bag because he's 4 seconds up the road there in that Mercedes. Again, we'll try to close in. Joggles runs a little bit wide out of turn 13, so now's an opportunity here We're not going to try for a move up here in the sort of penultimate corner, but see if we can try maybe do a bit of crisscross. He's getting a little bit sideways there. See if we can get a much better drive out of this corner here, which we do manage to do. Now we've got the DRS and the ERS overtake mode on. As we head on to the final lap of the race, it's all happening here at the moment. Up the inside, and there's P11 for us finally. So now we're just hopefully going to try and pull away. There's a little bit of contact from behind. I didn't realise that Greedy had actually got a decent run out of the first couple of corners there. So we run it in very deep there just to make sure we hang on to position for now. But obviously now I've got to manage my fuel as well, because I've literally used every single drop I have this race. So I'm literally marginal on fuel. So I've got to do that while keeping the Alfa Romeo behind. Obviously, I'm pretty much in an Alfa Romeo sandwich now with Blocky Rex in the foreground as well. Here's the replay again of my move here on Joggles. Obviously, try to get a good run out of the final corner. And then obviously, you can see there he goes. There I go up the inside, I should say. And you can probably see how Greedy probably got the move done. So did not muck around at all. Got a very nice move there. And you can see there's a little bit of contact there. I wasn't expecting that contact, let me just say the least. As there's Kick Butt Kiwi taking that position as well. So Joggles lost 3 spots out of all that, so he's back into P14. But in the end, we're coming towards the end of the line here. Just literally hopeful that a lot of guys in front have got penalties. Just have any hope of a top 10. You see the side-by-side across the line there in front there. When we cross the line, it's P11, but we jump up into, well, P8 originally, but then it's P9 in the end. After the penalties situation has ended there. So,
last few laps.
Yeah, that was definitely a very sweaty, to say the least. So we're having a debrief out of all that. I think Amazing Hour was watching on the both the streams as well. Ramsey gets the driver of the day, which is obviously a new feature in the F1 2020 game. So well done to him, and big congrats as well to GeForce Dre, who starts the season pretty well with a pole position and the race victory. Not the fastest lap. I think that may have gone to F1 Hawk in the end. So I think we're sort of discussing.
That's disgusting.
Well, sorry, Amazing Hour might have been discussing with Macca Stewart after the race, what had gone on with his race, that sort of thing. So
how can you even call that a team?
But you can see now, obviously, getting a bit of XP there, and be adding on to this. I think it's the podium pass, if I'm not mistaken. We can get some added features, like you can get helmets, gloves. What else you can? Car liveries, that sort of thing. There's many other things there. But there's the final results. So GeForce Dre wins the Australian Grand Prix ahead of Kudaah at P2. Banana Cake Pie somehow gets onto the podium. OP Magic ends up 4th. GeForce Benny Mac, he did qualifying in Tier 3, managed to get a top 5 after all that. Misses P6 there. GeForce Hazard P7, Kick Butt Kiwi in 8th. Myself in 9th, and MistyGryphon ran out your top 10. It's Ramsey in P6. And then you got the 2 Alphas, the Williams and Dermy's car. It was somehow at the back of all of that in P14. But yeah, there you go, guys and girls. That was the first round of the season. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a big smash on that like button. As always, you can leave your comments down below. Subscribe to my channel for plenty more Race Spec F1 Esports content on F1 2020. Got used to saying that now. Plus plenty more video gaming content as well. I think majority of the season may be on PS4. There might be the odd Xbox race that I do. Maybe throughout the season, you'll have to wait and see anyway. But yeah, that was the first round of the season done and dusted. And then I think the point standings were not done after this race. But hopefully you'll see in later videos to say, well, the next few rounds for this league. So yeah, until the next one, which will be the Bahrain Grand Prix. I think hopefully it will be. It is goodbye, and I'll see you all next time.